Okay, so it's been a while since I did a video, I suppose. Just kind of enjoying um, the anti-lockdown. I suppose I went to the store the other day. I was able to go in there without getting, feeling strange. There was people still wearing masks, so this is the kind of people that are still using moving average, I suppose, when they trade. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm surprised they probably wear condoms too while they're raping people. You know how people are. They always look out for the other guy. But yeah, so here we are, and I was just thinking last night that maybe when they come out with the facts about what really happened, they're just going to say, well, Martians just landed in Joe's backyard, so Joe's going to hand sunglasses out to the aliens that land in his backyard. Um, Look at the lumber market now. We've all heard in the news, and just for the people that were freaking out because they just weren't going to be able to get any lumber. It's just crazy. Don't forget lumber at 500. I know it went to this crazy number, and you got to ask yourself, what's that about? Like, how did that even happen? I don't know if this is historical price in lumber, and you can go to barchart.com and I don't work for Barchart. People always put these disclaimers. By the way, I don't have any affiliation with Barchart. But I remember I came to this site years ago. I think I even built a portfolio here at some point and was doing all sorts of, I suppose, like that guy in Russia that's trading crude oil. He finally was, so the guy that was long crude, we were on the Skype call. His, for him, he's like, oh, see, there you go. Now, on the way to that, where we're at, right? There's a lot of drama. And the guy might say, well, I know, I'd say I have a crystal ball and lumber's going to, I think it's like maybe 1700 on this chart. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but this is kind of a small chart. Let me see if I zoom in. Any zoom in capabilities here? I don't even know. But I think I have a crude zoom in. Wait, no. You can see what's going on there, right? It's just mind-boggling to me. And of course, the margin requirements, I can tell you on the exchanges here in the year of 2020, boy, did people have to come up with margin requirement. And I bet there's a few margin calls in here. And this another idea that these hedge funds are so smart. Really, why are these guys that are supposedly buying GameStop and hunting down all the big house shorts, why are they killing it, right? Because the big guys, the big boys cannot move fast. Big boys don't make money. Big boys churn accounts. I mean, big boys, this whole thing, it's just so harebrained. And another thing about this chart, and you could I go on forever about this chart, how there's not an algorithm in the fucking planet other than the fact that you would buy it low and sell high within the volatility requirements of what that thing is dishing out. Now, if you look at lumber on the left side here, 2019, it was like watching fucking paint dry. Now, as you come into the end of the year, if something's going on, there's money going in and out of lumber. There's huge trading going on. There's a big trading going on here in 2018 on the left side of the chart a little bit there. It's about volatility. So that first run up, that spike and that hard sell off come back, and we got like a top become a bottom here in the sense that, the people that are like, okay, that's triggered. This could go up again. And this is the dream of Bitcoin, I suppose, is this lumber chart. And I think all markets are the same as far as like, I mean, they stopped making trees all of a sudden here. What happened? Why did the enthusiasm die out? I got a million questions. Just too curious, like what in the fuck triggered all this drama? And should I build a trading model on lumber based on the latest data? Are you fucking nuts? Like if you built your model on what's happened in the past 4 years, you're going to tell me you didn't curve fit to the drama that we've just experienced? And you put a 20 EMA on, which is supposedly the institutional 20 EMAs. A simple moving average just isn't good enough for us people. Exponential. And there's another fucking harebrained thing, So last night, playing with a band, and this guy came over, and bless his heart, he's got fucking 3 rows of pedals, and he had this one pedal. He goes, that's handmade in some boutique pedal, And I just thought, yeah, but, unless you're playing a melody that anybody gives a fuck about, a narrative, so to speak, if you're not telling a story, nobody gives a shit. Tell me a story. And so people want to hear a story, and they also want a reason why the market just did what it did. And I guess I can make up my story. It's called order imbalance. And this is just when the market gets that frothy and that fucking violent, it's just like Bitcoin. Really, it's 6,800 or 6,500. You should have heard the bulls. You could just die. I mean, everybody from that one thing I posted in Discord, I haven't been there in a while. Fortunately, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be antisocial. I just am. So, I have a very private life. This morning I looked at my yard and I thought, yeah, that looks like where the water's going. I'm not going to re-landscape the yard. I'm just to have one of these water gathering places so I can just plant stuff there. I'm going to go with nature. I'm going to go with the landscape, the hand you're dealt. You take the market as it comes. Now in lumber right now, I could tell you right now that if I had a trading account that had lumber on it, I don't know what they probably don't give you a lot of leverage. Probably give you the same leverage at S&P 500. Some guy emailed me and said, well, why don't you trade the ES minis and stuff? And this is also the same argument that the crude oil guy had when we were on it's funny that lifestyle comes into the trading world, that the guy that's in Russia, he's hog long crude, like from this shock research. Now, he's going to tell you, and he would be right, that yes, it's fucking high drama. Crude probably goes up during high drama. Look at Desert Storm, right? Yes, these are true things, but how big are you in, and what's your timeline for getting the fuck out? Now, if you didn't get out of your lumber bull move here at, I want to say 1600s conservatively, you're probably feeling like, holy shit, this looks like my Bitcoin trade. Like, I'm just getting hammered here. And I don't know if these lumber and Bitcoin come from the same, maybe they're using the lumber to build the Bitcoins. There's some correlation. But, to the goober on the street and when the headlines, when you hear these roaring headlines about, I can't believe it. I remember this is the same thing when the first time oil spiked and it's going to go to $100, $140 a barrel. I think it actually went. I think it did go to some mind-blowing price. And they were talking there was this guy that would get on TV like Bull Pony of fucking crude, and he would get on there and say, oh, this peak oil, dude, there's only so much oil. There's just a little bit left under your, like if you look under your wheel well there that leaked out, we're actually scraping that off. We're going to try to build something. And it turns out there's oil up the fucking yin-yang, zing-zang. And these motherfuckers are all like, oh, Chicken Little, the sky's falling. It's just hysterical. The whole mask thing, the whole pandemic. Now it's, and now that you're fucking tipping the scales here with the temperatures on the west side of the coast, dude, we're freezing our ass over here on the east side. So shut the fuck up. Everybody gets it. Dude, I was 109 here 10 years ago. I had a little pet. He died from it. And, this is not nothing to fuck with. Mother Nature don't give a fuck about you. And the volcanoes, are you going to have where's the volcano fucking crisis pandemics? When can we start? Well, we're going to build corks and we're going to put them on all the volcanoes and we're going to stop them volcanoes from erupting. How are we going to do that, Joe? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get a helicopter, of course, a solar helicopter, and we're going to fly them around, drop corks, and it's like Xanadu. It's like fucking the beginning of, we'll do what fucking L. Ron Hubbard did. We're going to take a Boeing a fucking 308 or whatever, fly it into the fucking an assault plane and fly it into the goddamn volcano, and it'll rectify shit right there. So that, that's really, that's what we're talking about here. And I can imagine the guy that went against the crowd here and shorted this motherfucker at 1,600 on lumber and said, I like this trading shit. I like this buy, sell high shit. And is there ever an indication to sell high? Well, I'm waiting for my moving averages to turn over before I sell high. Okay, you're that guy. So you're waiting for fucking, and, don't get me started how you should be able to figure out right now you want to buy lumber. A little bit. just nibble at it. And this is the scaling in aspect of trading that a lot of people aren't into, because I guess you'd be even an investor at this point. I think the idea of day trading has always been, if you look at this mindfully trading chick, she's still stuck on trading one fucking contract at a time. I'm like, really? You got fucking, really? So you mean to tell me that you've got it dialed in? So, okay, and she set a limit, and it's cute. She put a sell limit in, that was good. And then she got this nice scalp, and she goes, I think the market's turning over here. Okay, that's great. You're going to do, and she made 1.5%. She risked 1.5% or something like that. And whatever, break even trade, right? You got to do a lot of fucking trading. I'm so sorry, but if you're going to be, and of course it's a kibitz for her, this is not real shit, right? And I guess I could do that, right? I could be like, you know what I'm going to do is, and I guess I might do that, but I might have to have help, right? I'm not going to take my scripts, and I guess I could make my scripts completely kosher. In other words, I can debug them, so it would be more like the un-Bill Gates system. It's very simple scripts. They run. They always run, and I would charge if I was going to do sound effects with the script, so that, or what I really wanted to do, and this is something that still, I guess all these ideas you have, you just put by the wayside because, life's going on just fine. Why overdo it? But I would love an indicator that calls out the prices, okay, you're down, like some hot chick that says you're down 40 pips right now. Or you're under what? How about calling out how much I'm losing right now? You're down 300. And when it gets down to like, you're down 800, dude, you're down 800. And when it gets to down 1,000, dude, bruh, down 1,800. You still want this trade? Now, if you haven't got stopped out, what it means is you've put in really wide stops. And I did this with a demo account. I came into this pound sell-off and the euro sell-off, which kind of looks like this almost. And this looks like Bitcoin. Is it big? So there's this big, I guess, climax on lumber. Is lumber, now, if you're a lumber bull, do you really think lumber's going to fucking 3,000? Dude, there's no market for that. And this is pure panic and fear, panic, fear. Who's driving that? And that's another thing. Going back to this big boy arguments, and they're the ones, they're teasing all the retail guys and tricking them. Did they trick the retail guys to go long? If supposedly the big boys move the market, then apparently the big boys butt fuck themselves because they took it up, up hard, down hard. Like, this is the maybe a weekly chart. I'm not sure. I'm on the 5-year chart. Now, if I go to max. I haven't gone to max yet, so I've been saving that. Let me just ask you, in the wild world of sports, this is lumber. Is there something wrong here? I got to get the lumber story. Now, that's a story that people, if we look back on this first spike, and this is a tremendous spike here, don't forget, that is a killer, right? Isn't that that's a wackadoodle. That is a humdinger, as they would say. Let me see if I get my toys out, my drawing toys, but that is a humdinger. And this whole thing, look at this range drama now. This is where people make a mint going, yeah, every time it gets here we sell, and every time it gets here we buy. I should stretch this chart out a little bit. Here, let me do a manual stretch. Using my trusty Zoom capabilities that brought to you by the browser. 10%, boy, that makes it, oh shit. There goes that chart. Holy fuck me. Okay, well, there you go. Whew. Wow, that is, what did I just do? Oh fuck, I wanted max, 20 years. 20 years of just throttling and torturing trend traders, really, in a way. I think this is funny because the trend traders, this is another big hoax, is the trend trader thing. Well, forget that part of the chart. We were lost there. We don't have that. But let's go to a more concise drawing of the situation. Get my big ass blue out. Big blue. Yeah, so this is quite amazing. And of course, here I would be curious to know what was so here's the big breakout. And a lot of range trading going on. Bing, bang, bong. And then I think this maybe is the weekly chart. Look at this run up and then crush back. And this is where I'm typically now in my trading system is very simple. It's supply and demand, I guess you're going to call it. And now here's where I get in trouble, and here's where anybody would get in trouble, is that if you're going to scale in and you oversize for the size of account you have, you're not going to experience that beautiful feeling of like, holy fuck. Setting the dominoes up, you got the limit orders sitting here. The market's here. And if you don't want to sell here because you didn't put sell limits above here and take that risk of like selling new highs, now this is always the most scary thing because everybody is so fucking bullish right here. So I understand psychologically how hard that is. The passive entry is to run a trailing sell stop entry and wait to get filled. And this is the confirmation entry. You just keep putting and do a cancel replace and just keep making the ticket bigger. This is another way to scale in into a short. So I guess I'm just jumping ahead in the course here, but I'm going to describe many different ways to trade what you just see here on the bar chart. Fuck these candles. I mean, really, another thing, the candles, if you're a breakout trader, you trade bar charts. I'm sorry, because the candle is too distracting. It's like, well, is that a hammer? Dude, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter because it's about the breakout of the weekly. And yes, you're taking goober risk here, but you're making goober money. Now, this is, you still couldn't trade one ticket like this. You still couldn't do one ticket because you're going to get chopped and whipsawed. You're going to get trapped on your breakout strategies. Yeah, they work sometimes. If I ran a trailing sell stop here, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sell. I know it's going up. I know what you told me. And you may have a sell limit up here that never gets filled. So here's the holy grail of trading. You've got three approaches. You have a limit order, a market order, and a stop, if you need be, a stop order. I'm not saying you can't do it. But let's say that you are an equal opportunity trader. You trade a third at the market, a third on stop entry, which is confirmation. I'm going to put my sell stops here, trail my sell stops. I know where for whatever fucking reason you think the bias is down. You get filled. The thing is money management. Where do you get the fuck out? If you run a trailing stop here, then you don't make much money because by the time it starts coming back slightly, if you didn't cash out into this void, and I'm seeing this is my, okay, so there's another way to trade that. You don't have to sell this fucking thing. I could have bought it on limits in this pocket, in this void, in this vacuum. I could have buy limits stacked up here. The other thing I could do is every week it's down, I buy. I buy this, I buy this. I buy, I buy. Maybe I work for, maybe I own a fucking lumber, and I got buy limits galore in this pocket here. This is deep territory supply zone. So it's the space around the market that's important. This space is critical, right? Until this moment, people go, oh, well, that was just, it's gonna tank, but who's the guy that has a buy limit here? That'd be me. Because when I see, and actually, this is such a big down day, this would trigger my market orders, which I did on the demo account, which I'm down, the account is in half. Well, it's actually not in half, but I was at 25,000, trading whole time micro lots, But when you see a move like this down, and now you come in with your typical stop, instead of risking a percentage of your account, what I'm doing is I'm saying, how much is that one trade going to cost me? I reverse engineered it because this harebrained fucking notion of coming in and risking 1% of your account because you think you built the fucking holy grail algorithm is complete fucking bullshit. And I hear this Vantage ad on the radio about predict the market 3 days in advance. I'm like, what fucking planet are you from? Because the guy that blew up his fucking hedge fund account, can you imagine him going, he should have waited for lumber to go to write fucking puts. I mean, to write calls. The fucker wrote calls in a fucking market like that spiked like that. There's so much trading on this fucking chart that when it comes to this part of the chart, the beauty of trading stuff with a dollar filter is this is untradeable to you. I don't give a fuck if your algo says, well, we should come in here and risk 1%. Really? You can't risk one. How are you going to risk 1%? I mean, and what's your target? I mean, if you're really going to just trade one position, you're just going to tell me you bought here. Well, is your target up here? Probably. Really? No, you got to buy a fucking bunch of shit here over this period of 2 weeks. You probably had buy limits here. You know, the breakout pulled back to the breakout, but it overshot. See, this is the thing people aren't counting on, and it didn't make it here either, but it came back into here. Wow, back to 600. You were just at 1,000, and you're not going to buy it at 600. Now, there isn't anybody. I'm telling you, whoever trades lumber here that guy doesn't trade lumber here because the margin requirement here at this point for this exchange is fluctuating, whereas in your forex broker, the margin requirement is fucking linear static. Why aren't people getting this? People say, well, why did you trade the ES mini? I don't know, this margin requirement. I guess, okay, we're on forex platforms now, right? So maybe I could trade lumber. But the guy that's actually trading lumber, that's taking delivery on lumber, who owns a lumber yard, he's shitting his pants on these. Actually, he's not involved in this. By the time he takes delivery, that price is already back to fucking normal. That's pure speculation moves, I'm assuming. There's no way I'm going to go to fucking Home Depot, and I'm telling you what, there's going to be a glut of lumber. It's like a glut of fucking Bitcoins. It's called, why are these concepts gone? Critical race theory shit. They waste their time teaching people shit that don't fucking matter to a hill of fucking beans. So, all these woke goobers at the top of the chain, they have money, but it's feckless shit. And they're getting their ass kicked. It's so cute because these fucking dumb shits with all their money, Bill Gates, fucking ass clowns, they lose so much money. And they take so much punishment. And they just have, I was watching that Epstein thing again, Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm like, yeah, these people can do this shit. They just buy pussy. They just, instead of lumber, we should see the fucking trade on that, Anybody short Epstein? But it's funny to watch this drama go around the planet. Meantime, who's really winning? The people that are alive and healthy, the people that aren't wrapped up in all this is ridiculous. But it just goes to show you, or shows to go you, that this lumber, this news headlines, it's just fucking joke. People are so whipsawed by it. I don't know if it's because the world's so small with the internet that the signal goes out that lumber, go buy lumber. You really, how'd that trade work out for you? You got into lumber, you bought it at 1,600. Did you buy Bitcoin at 6,000 too? 60,000? So I think there's a correlation here between Bitcoin and lumber. I'm just saying. Futures. That's like a continuous contract they spliced together. It's not bad. For free. I thought I was going to get the full story here on lumber. 30 years of lumber. Okay, so 30 years of lumber. I mean, what in the hell's going on here? You're stuck in this range of what? 200 to 400 and then Ballisticville. Maybe it is going to go. So look at that. 1750. Are we really going to go up that far? And I know nobody trades lumber, but I'm just saying these are just markets. And this notion of algorithms is just fucking retarded. Stop it. No, I know. No, I know it works. On a smaller time frame. So I'm saying that this in this market, so yes, you can have a moving average system. I got it. But you're still, if you don't scale in, you're saying your system is so fucking precise. It's just not even possible. So you're trying to go around the fact that it takes work to trade. Because you've intellectualized the viewing of the data and you feel like, oh, I know how my indicators behave and I built this. You should see that I back tested this. And oh my God, it performs so good, but then it gets killed. I don't know why. And what is the effort? If you know it's going to work for certain, and there's a guy on the thing there that's trading nanolots manually. Yeah, because you know what? There's a big difference between the guy that wants to step back and put $1 million in the account. He's built an algorithm that it makes 2%, and okay, that's a different world. And how much money do you need to live on? We're coming down to who can make money. And Bitcoin is a dream for the poor people, right? Because they could buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Look how big it went up, and look at this. And to listen to Tim Pool and these people talk about Bitcoin is just so fucking laughable because, oh, he's like, I'm not worried about this. Dude, how are you going to feel when it goes? I say you're going to do a video when it goes to 10 grand. This video, Bitcoin conceivably comes back to 20 grand, then to 10 grand. Then you know what it does? It sits at 10 fucking grand for years. For years. And what do you think is going to happen to lumber here? Whittles back down, dicks around, and ends up maybe just treading water in a 400 pip range between 400 and 600 for the rest of mankind. I mean, are they going to stop making trees? Is this part of some... I don't know. It's an order imbalance, I think. And the houses being built, the mortgage rates are going up. So if mortgage rate, here's the fundamental argument why lumber is going to crash. All the way back to 400. Come back to the fold of 600 to 400. Because mortgage rates go up, who can afford a house, and blah, 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 and inflation's here, and yeah, you know what? It's not the... So people always draw to the fact of Venezuela and that stuff. Look at the dollar come screaming back just by the mention of them raising interest rates here, because this is the place that the cartels are bringing people across the border into this country because it is a soft, young country of goobers and gooberettes. We're not tough people. These Russians are like, look at this crude oil guy. He's like, Elan crude, you stupid, you don't understand shock. Elan crude, you not. Look at me. Yeah, Americans are like, dude, we just want to fucking scalp the market. I can make money scalping, but that's work, right? I got to sit there and babysit the market, but I can do that, or I can just put on some giant fucking lumber trade and go, yeah, I'm long lumber. Call me when it gets back to fucking 1800. We'll get out. I guess we missed getting on the top there. The top tick Tommy got in there. I see these little arrows here. This is the record low at 118 and record high. That's 1,000%. Look at that. Top tick Tommy. That lumber went up 1,000%, right? That is amazing. So rock bottom, and I tell me what the story here is. I could go back and look in the headlines, and I used to do that. Give me the headlines here. What's going on right there? And this is the volume. So here's a big volume spike, and this is supposed to tell us that people are buying that. We don't see the reaction till later on, but look at the volume drop off. So what does that mean? That's a curious thing, right? And after this big sell-off, so it's huge volume, big sell-off. What does that mean? And people talk about this volume all the time. Dude, I've heard this for fucking years on end. Well, tell me the fucking signal here on volume then. Maybe that's ATR. I don't know. Fuck, I guess I'm wrong. I don't know what the fuck that is. Is that volume averaged or something? Maybe it's the average of volume. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Fucking A. But anyways, there's a ton of volume down here. What is that telling me? Not shit. Here's a ton of volume. What am I supposed to sell here? Where's the trade, dude? Here's what I'm saying. And I'm a broken record on this shit, but I say this is the most logical, clunky, unsophisticated way of trading is to literally. I have this 21-year-old friend that she says literally, it's so cute. If we buy here in this pocket, the Dungeon of Despair, if we literally just, and I'm presupposing we have enough margin and all that, and we're already rich, but I either put a sell limit up here, I have sell limits up in this supply zone, and I'm waiting one day to get triggered, and sure enough, they trigger me, and I guess the scalp is going to be to here, and then there's a rinse and repeat, and this is another thing about trading that's going to be difficult for these one-trick pony traders. They're just not going to want to refresh this area with their sell limit strategy and scale in, which I'm going to do because I know that's going to make money. And markets retest, things we know happen. If I put buy limits here below this area and they fill that and they're trapped below this floor, so to speak, and then they go for an engulf, they don't go for a full engulf, but this void's been stacking up. So if I didn't buy here and accumulate underneath this floor of price, and I could also do my goober buy stop confirmation. Buy stops are stacking up, and also buy stops are stacking up from all the people that sold here. Their money management protection systems are stacking. For the market's moving for a variety of reasons. You know, there's the algos protecting the shorts, and when they first get stopped out, it creates a run on those bear stops. But don't forget, people have accumulated under this floor at unfair value at a deep discount. And then certainly the optimal trade here is to dump the whole position here as you flush out the retail, take out those stops. Or are you putting in sell limits and going into a new position? So you can have it either way here. You're either going to have your, I know they have their, you have the go long people here, but if they don't get out, they're all the way back to the starting gate and going, well, I didn't make any money on that trade. Yes, because you did not get the fuck out. And that's part of trading, is getting out. I mean, optimal trade entry is pointless unless you should know where the exit door is. When the entrance door, you should know where you're exiting, because you can see where, if you were not long this thing, you didn't accumulate down here, that you'd have to be selling into that. If you're a seller, you put your sell here, sell limit, sell limit, sell limit. Now, granted, you're going to put most of your sell limits up in this pocket because you want to get super short here. Sell a little bit. Maybe they stop you out of a few tickets. I got it, right? It's not a perfect world. She's got a little, she's got a muffin top, and her parents are fucking mean. But, you know, this is real life. And then, bam, but she makes good cookies, right? And this constant up and down. When I looked at corn prices, this looks like a corn chart to me in the old days, and I had a real account at a brokerage firm, commodities, and I thought, there's got to be a way to trade this shit. I'm missing something. And I stared at this chart, dude. I'm going to tell you what, I printed it out with really nice paper, and I just stared at it, and I thought, no, there's something here I'm missing. And what I was missing was execution technique. How do I get in the fucking market? Like, how do I get aboard this train in any kind of way? And this is the weekly chart, by the way. So on this chart, I'm not really going to trade breakouts. I'm going to come in on limits. I think the special trick is to have your limit at the sweet spot of like the top tick Tommies or the bottom tick Bobbies, and to get that insane. Now this is a rare entry, but if you have your buy limit here, your bottom tick Bobbies, your top tick Tommy entries, that's premium, right? You're buying this. I cannot get that. Okay, so if you're buying this, oh, I guess that's you're stuck. That one writes on top no matter what. Okay, gotcha. Could have fooled me. That's bizarre. That one always marks on top. Okay, because this is the watercolor. Buying down here now. If you do not get out of some of this position and scale out along the way too, this is the other thing is that every time I get into a position, I've got my early exits. Now the greed part of me says, dude, this is going to be an amazing trade. Every time. So I have I'm going to make 8 pips, I'm going to make 5 pips, I'm going to make 12 pips, I'm going to make 13, and make 18, and I'm going to skim the market some of the time. And so it's all about execution. And when I see a market that's moving 1,000 pips in an hour, unless you've got 1,000 pips stop, you're not going to trade that. And even if you trade a nano lot on that, this is when volatility matters to such a point that I don't give a fuck if you're telling me about this. I risk 1% of my account. Yeah, but you can't even. You're going to get kicked out of that trade in 2 seconds because if that's really your dollar risk, you're setting a dollar stop. You should set a structure stop. You should have a stop that's based on real shit like the market, not on a percentage of your account. It's just harebrained. Now, I guess the only way around that is to pick markets that are so tame that you're never going to get near not being able to take the pattern that you see. The pattern is so expensive on this. Like if this is called a head and shoulders up here, it's like a fucking expensive head and shoulders. Whereas this, this head and shoulders up here, or this kind of climax move or overbought zone, pretty tame, right? Sell, sell, sell. This one, okay, you have to have such deep pockets to sell into that to reap that, as opposed to this trade here where you're like, yeah, I like this buy low, sell high. Yeah, I like that. No, I like that. Oh, it's nice markets. Oh, look at this beautiful trend. Oh yeah, I remember I traded that. But dude, when the market starts to do this shit, what? It's gone. Your algo's bye-bye. This algo stuff, stop it. Only because I think most of the money's going to be made from a linear approach to risk of dollars. Like, yeah, I would trade Bitcoin if things calm down. Yeah, I'd get in there in Asia and maybe I'd trade a little bit here and be like, okay, I've got some stops. Like I run tight stops. So some guy said to me about, I said, well, you run a 5 pip stop. He's like, yeah. Okay, running 5 pip stops, dude. You got to babysit the market. You got your finger on the trigger. Because who's surviving even a limit pending with a 5 pip stop? It takes only one person in the world to fuck up your trade. Like to just, okay, some order imbalance comes in and a server hangs. So now there's a big dump. And what is happening there when they come out and say they're going to raise interest rates a little bit, just a hint of it, creates a 2-day sell-off. Who's selling that? It's got to be pure goobers, right? Because anybody that's already in the market is holding their shorts. They're not moving it down. If the smart money and the big money is already long the dollar, they're just holding it. It's got to be the dumb shit public coming in, right? The dumb shit hedge funds coming in and bidding and bid. Dude, where were you? You should just be holding. Who's buying? And then maybe, I guess the big boy argument is, no, They are dumping theirs. They're selling it to the public because the public wants it, and then they're going to go the other way on the trade, right? Now you can make up all these kind of things and say to yourself, "Well, I'm going to run what do they call it? Where you come up with a story that's kind of like goes with the people that are against you, covert whatever. You know what I'm saying? Double cross. You know, it's classic shit, right? Covert opposition or some shit. So here we are, trying to make money in this rigged game. Yeah, it's pretty rigged out. So it depends, right? It depends your point of view on this stuff. But lumber's fascinating. Let me go to the Bitcoin chart. Now that's another fascinating thing. Bitcoin is due for another meltdown possibly, and I'm just going to use the candlesticks here on the weekly Bitcoin. I should have it queued up on my system of dysfunction here. Dysfunction junction. What's your function? So here's the big sell-off in the euro dollars and the pound too. So I've gotten the pound too now. I don't normally trade the pound, and of course we're taking some punishment on the account here, but I'm in a $1 million position. And I bought. It looks great on the. If you look at, I put 50 pip stops, and so I have one order that I pulled the trigger 1,000 times. And why did I pull the trigger 1,000 times? Because there's one case. So I got $1 million approximately. It allows you 1,000 tickets here at Hugo's Way, which is a great broker. They've got every crypto coin here. And somebody asked me about brokers. So the thing about brokers is like, okay, do you want a lot of instruments or do you want a tight spread? What do you want? What kind of trader are you? Are you a scalper? So if you're a scalper, you probably want to put in, you're going to trade super tight spread, fast execution servers. You're probably not going to get great leverage because maybe you go to what is it, Trader's Choice or something in Belize. I don't know if they still. I don't know. There's always a new thing cropping up because you have to keep ahead of the government in their regulations. So I say go unregulated broker. I have no problem all day long unregulated brokers. The best to me, I've never had a problem with an unregulated broker because they're unregulated. See, if you want to wear a mask your whole fucking life, and I get that, there's people on the stream. We talk to people that were like, I don't know about that. I'm like, okay, dude, you're not that guy. Okay, you're not living in a van down by the river. You know, and that's a great lifestyle. By the way, the pressure that high-profile, high-rich people go through with all their trophy wives and all their trophy shit. That's a stressful lifestyle. It has to be on some level because if you live in a high profile life, if you lose it, and that's why you see these politicians and all these Fauci's and all these people that they live in a bubble of that's just how things are. And they make all that money and then they write a book and all this shit and people offer them that shit and they just can't, who's going to turn down a fucking free meal? And then they get high on the large S and their own supply of power and all that shit. This is what happens, It's human nature, and it's just this is what happens. Apparently, we're living in a movie, and I always thought things were a little more straight up. But I'm watching movies now. Just in the middle of watching this one called the Black Rose, Russians and. L.A. cops hire a Russian fucking beast, get her done SWAT guy. And, it's the fact that this Russian president is asking us, so you assassinate people there, huh? Oh, interesting. Tell us about that. To me, in my lifetime, at 63 years old, I never thought in my fucking life I would see behind the Iron Curtain the Russians call us out on the most draconian Marxist, socialist, soft Nazi thread of kind of, using the leverage of the do-gooder mentality of Americans that, well, we're just good Germans following orders. We wear our masks. Look at us. Hey, don't, no, no, don't fire me. Oh, don't cancel me. Oh, no. Wow. Oof. Yeah, you better get with that fucking, that Russian guy who's long crude right now. That's fucking like, dude, what are you looking at the 5-minute chart for? I mean, look at this fucking shit. Uh, look at this shit. What, are you kidding me? So, we're a culture fucking shock. Yeah, why are all these people, when are they going to tell the, okay, so Cunt Harris goes to Guatemala. Why didn't she say, listen, fuckers, what are you coming to fucking Racistville for? You coming to systemic Racistville? What are you doing? Just turn back. You want to get lynched? We got a news for you. What the fuck? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So my anger is so, I'm like, what the fuck? Now, take this to trading. I see the same systemic fucking moving averageism. I see the same fucking stupidity of projection. Well, look at this, what they're said about, did you hear what they said? Are you fucking retarded? You couldn't step into these markets at this volatility level. There is no fucking trade for you. Now, maybe you're cashing out of a trade, and maybe you're in the glorious sense of like the euphoria of like, this trade's working out good. Stay in, let your profits run. What? Okay, you just never traded before with any kind of size of any matterance to your fucking feeling of winning and losing. Winning and losing only occurs to people that are apparently, it means more to lose $1 million than $100, but does it really? Your trade sucks. You're losing. So your your subconscious does not qualify the amount of loss. It just says, no, you lost, you're wrong. In fact, if you're trading because you think you're right to make money, when you're wrong, you should be losing, right? And that gets into the whole thing about, well, because I built this system. You just have too fragile of a approach. The goobers, the one-trick ponies, because you're waiting for the market to come around to your algorithm. Well, that may never happen again. Well, don't change your trading system. You have to. Now, I get the fact that if you're just lucky enough to get one that works, oh my God, finally got a girlfriend that won't fucking tell me that I don't look good. Oof, better keep her. Well, is that really the good thing? Maybe she just live alone. Okay, that's what I did. But, there's a balance point of health. And if you're going to make all this money because you're going to buy this and that stuff, I know a lot of rich people that just died with so much shit. You have no idea. Expensive shit would blow your mind, but they could have chilled more. There's another thing about the gross domestic product. Do we all have to be working? Now, I'm not saying that we should all be handed a paycheck, but, in a sense, what's the point at this point? I mean, shit is so fucking high tech. Wait till the shit fails and then people come out and fix it. So last night, I met a guy that was, maybe he's like 35 years old. I'm going to say 40 years old. And his attitude is like, yeah, I said, you know what? Kill them all, let God sort them out. In fact, all this murder and mayhem and burning down, you know what? Knock your fucking self out, bitch, because you just keep going. Just keep doing it. Bring them all in across the board. This is my view now, is that this is how I become a scorched earth person. This is how I've become so pissed off and angry. Pretty much my whole life, because I'm like, this is what you're doing is fucking retarded on the big scale. So I've always just, to save myself psychologically, I just go to the small nano world. Give me Give me a guitar. Give me a high-end piece of fucking audio gear. Give me some really good movies to watch, and let me just escape the tragedy of the human condition of people just chasing their tail, shooting themselves in the foot, wearing fucking masks till they get fucking Legionnaire's disease in their fucking dumb shit masks, and these fucking idiots. I can't even tell you. There's no amount of anger that I can muster up. I'm sure you can understand how I could just rip. And I think actually, apparently, there is no filter on cussing. I don't know what's going to happen in this video, but you've got to be kidding me. And I know there's people have to talk around stuff. It's fun because it's a game. It reminds me as a kid, and cars would come by and I'd hide from a car. I'd be like walking around at night because they had curfews. When I was a kid, they had riots and curfews. And I thought, gosh, do I have to be like a military kid? I'm only like 12 years old. Can I be like in the military right now? Right now, like concealed carry at the age of 11. I'm ready to go. Like, okay, I got like if I had technology like they have now, I'd have my cell phone out there. I'd be looking at the fucking Wi-Fi's. I'd have my Shark. There's a Shark Wire app on my phone. Look at this guy. So he's got, say, hacking in and tacking in and TikToking. And you get the feeling, though, if you watch the news, that the whole world's coming apart. Lumber prices are up. It's crazy what's going on. Look at this crude oil shit. Look at this crude oil chart, man. This is a motherfucker, isn't it? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Hey, listen, moms need to get laid too. Look at crude. So I'm saying we're in the sell territory here, and this is crude's reaction to shutting down all the pipelines. Marxist energy policy. I put some markings on here, actually, at some point. But look at now, in the big picture here, let's go to crude oil in the monthlies. Look at that thing stretched up. And this was when crude oil, don't forget this is, crude oil went below zero, supposedly, down here. Remember these days? Is it time to sell crude? See, now I'd be getting out, or I'd be going short here. So that's just me. My view of it, just a clunky view, is that anything above, anything in this window, all up in here, above the fruited plain. Oh, that's the wrong. Okay. Yeah, anything above here. Wow. Actually above this wick. So I'd be short right now. I was scaled into that. And the higher it goes, the more I sell into it. So that's a martingale thing built on that. Now, could you say the same for this? I don't think I... Okay, so as soon as... The reason why people say, well, did you buy into that? I don't think so. But somebody bought below here, and somebody bought at zero, supposedly, or $5 on the bid. And here's the floor. People scalp it to the floor, typically, right? And this is just the monthly, very clean, obvious, zero noise chart. Sellers come in. Oh, it's going to tank again. Oh, not so fast, and rip. Then we get to this controversy price. And that's a big deal. This is a big trap zone up in here. So I think that's reached its climax, Depends where you live in the country. Where I live, gas just notched above $3. So it's really not that bad here. Let's not forget the supply and demand of the world is that a lot of people, when prices are too high, they back off, and this creates the order imbalance, and you get the pendulum swing back the other way. And that's a trade for people. Some people, that's the trade. This shifting of order imbalance. So here's the big, supposedly the bellwether, according to Andrew Cardwell, is the German market, the DAX. So the DAX on the monthly is just a mind blower. It is up in the all-time overpriced price, CD price of all-time price fill. And you really got to wonder about this. Is this going to keep going up? Wow, the DAX. Explain that to me. Somebody should be able to explain that. Oh, S&P. Oh, and NASDAQ made a new high. The NASDAQ is making new monthly highs. Holy shit. This is crazy, man. I just don't believe what I'm seeing. But from a money-making standpoint of just trading, it doesn't matter what's making new historical highs. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that, can you see your trade in here? Here's the euro versus the pound. Now, this is a really staticky market. This market just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. I never see a trend on this thing. This is supposedly no-nonsense forex favorite currency pair to trade. In what world do you live in that this is a good trend trade? I mean, what the fuck? This is a range trader's dream. It's 100 pips to that big black line. And that is the daily chart. This is just boom, bang, bang, just choppy woppy. It's whipsaw city. It's a true, and I think the reason why it is like that is because Europe and Britain are very close together. This isn't going anywhere. For 4 years, I'm just going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Where is this fucking market going? And what algorithm you're using? I guess you have to go to the dailies. I don't know. I don't see it, and I see a bunch of ruination. And this wick up here is a real price, by the way. That's not a bad tick up there. What the fuck is that? So these are order imbalances, in my opinion, and I'm going to try to take advantage of it. So coming into tonight, we're going to trade again. Here's the dollar CAD. I haven't looked at this in a while. Look at the weekly dollar CAD. Look at that bitch come off the floor. Look at the Australian dollar. Now, this is something you could trade if you're a beginner. You could trade a lot of currency here very cheaply. This is not going to cost you a lot. Look at the dollar just destroy this. And this has got some more room to fall, maybe. But I'm always looking at my trade is going to look like this every time. If I was going to trade this tonight, I could go to sleep all night and sleep like a baby knowing that I got limit orders sitting down here. Buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, buy limit. Woven into this, I have scalps in there. I'm not going to build a position all the way down and cash out here. It's not going to happen because I have to buy. If I buy below here, so here's my trading system. In a nutshell, this is the weekly chart. From here to here is 1 week. If this is sunny night, and when they come down and take out the low of last week, and I buy that and I ride it to say here, if I don't have sell limits coming in here to trade it that way, I'm going to trade it both directions because I'm trading pure limits. Got sell limits up here in a 20 pip window to sell to make 20, at least 20 pips, if not to come to this auction window to buy. Then when it comes down here, every 4 hours I'll probably be buying that. I'll probably start buying early because I'm very aggressive. I come in early here and I buy this pocket. I don't wait for this last, but by the time we're here, I want to be in 350K. So if I'm going to put in 1Ks, and they're going to stop me out of some of those, don't forget. But if I load the wagon here and I hold that right into the end of the day on Friday, I could have dumped. I can see the trade plan of the next week coming easily. I know right now that I have to buy or sell the dollar coming into this week for the swing trade, for the scalp, for the dead cat bounces, for all that stuff, because I know it makes money or makes pips. And how much can you afford to trade on that stuff? Like this, right now, it's just coming in like this. Now, yeah, you could run a buy stop here, and you could be I'm conservative, I got a buy stop trailing. Yeah, I got it, right? Got a buy stop here. They filled you, but don't you want to get filled on your limits, your markets, and maybe your stops? And you really load up here and you get a nice chunk going. And you take out your 10, your 20, your 30, 40, 50. Maybe you're out of the whole position here, but you just made so much fucking money, dude. Why don't you want to do that trade? It's a tactical trade. You're saying, okay, buy stops trailing here. Got buy limits starting here, even here. If they fill you on your limits and you're like, yeah, I'm just not getting enough limit fill. I mean, I should have put more limits in. Just every 4 hours. Now here you got to trade with a 50 pip stop though. Buy at the market with a 50 pip stop. Buy at the market with a 50 pip stop. Here, you can be a little pickier because you can have scalps built into your limits here. Whereas this trade, once you pull the trigger, it's done. It's written. You have taken that trade. If it just drops below here, the first drop below here, you buy at the market. Every 4 hours, you buy at the market. You buy at the market. And it's the same trade as this. Now notice from the pattern's the same, but the volatility has changed between these two trades. The exact same trades, exact same concept of buying new low. You bought this new low, just like you bought that new low. This took out the low of last week. This is last week's low. This is last week's high. I know that the ICT guy wants to make this complicated. It's not. You don't need a crystal ball. You don't need fucking Fibonacci. Fibonacci has to be the biggest fucking mental crime to what supply and demand really is. Like, why in the fuck would you put Fibonacci? I know you probably got a rabbit's foot on your keychain and you haven't gotten a car crash, so you're going to tell me. I know, I got you. We have a place for people like you. And then I have the line chart here. This is a 1 period moving average. People ask, what is that? That's the 1 period moving average. Closing prices. On top of the bar chart, if I zoom in, you'll see the candles show up. But to me, this is the ultimate chart. I came up with the idea because it tells me what trade I would be doing here. If it's up at the market, I sell at the market. If I didn't get filled on my sell limits up here, and I go over this again and again, and people say, well, what about this? What about that? Well, you're going to lose on that trade. But you're going to decide how much you're going to lose, because if I put a 20K up here, and these are all single tickets, by the way, and I've got the scripts here to prove it, and this is how I trade it for real, is I just lay, and I don't know why, I feel bad for this unmindfully trading girl, because does she not understand the script thing? Why in the fuck is she putting in, maybe I could help her out, although I don't, I'm not sure what her aim is, because maybe this is too complicated. It's not about making money for her, apparently. Well, maybe I'm just being too mean. I don't know. I thought everybody knew about these scripts I made. I'm not promoting them enough, apparently. And actually, if you sell them, like there's people don't mind buying, apparently. I would clean them up and I would make the comments appropriate for what the script is. And then that's another thing I'd have to really think about, because I'm trying to call out what is in that script, in the title of the script. And you're allowed so many characters, I think up to like 23 characters here, to describe what is that? What's going on there, dude? And there is a way to do that. And but the longer you make this name, and then you have to tell people, well, what does that title really mean? And this is where the work comes in, because then you have to have documentation. Well, what the fuck's going on here? But the market's not open right now. But I could drop this. I have some Bitcoin scripts I could drop and show you how it works. But if I just take the script here and grab this, I'm going to just take this guy. And right now, if the market was open for 4 hours, I'm going to lay a 6K. So every a few pips apart, I'm going to come in here and drop this. If I drag this over, drop it, it's going to go bing, 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 bing. It's going to lay a rack in. That lasts for 4 hours with a 22 pip stop to make 12 pips. Essentially risking $15 to make a measly 7. Now, I know it sounds bad, but our chance of making 7 is increased. Just ask Ryan Brown. And we know that for a fact right now. the only burden here is psychological, I suppose, for people that are waiting for the thing to go through the cycle of, I put my rack of buy limits in here with a 22 pip stop, and I can just drag over as many as I want here and drop them, okay? And this is what you do, and this is how you make money trading without even being there for that. That's the beauty of limits. I can set all these orders on Sunday night. I could set them to last all week. Or I'm going to wait later on and see what happens, and maybe I'm going to put limits here. Well, I actually am going to put limits there. Now this, I have to have a 50 pip stop on this limit, right? To endure this sell-off, to see not even a full risk or road ratio or risk 50 to make 50. No, I'm not even going to make 50. But I can accept that on one ticket, on 1K. So I've seen Mindfully Trading Girl comes in and trades 31K on one ticket, and I was flummoxed by that move. I was appalled, honestly. I just was said, that's a crime. That's a trading crime, because why in the hell did you think that in your novice career of trading that this one idea, this one entry, and this one whatever harebrained, she's running some kind of crazy multi-indicator Bollinger Band thing, that you're going to risk 1.5% of the account, this 31K on this one harebrained trade. Okay, it's a hobby. I get it that you're like my rose bush in front of my house, that I got one rose bush out there. I don't have like a fleet of rose bushes. I just got one, and it comes back. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it looks fucked up. It has its own personality of behaving. But I don't think I'm going to make a rose store. I'm not going to be a florist or anytime soon. So she's like trying to be a florist with one little trade like that. I get it. She's married. She's got money, and she lives on a boat or something, and she doesn't have to perform, And but what if you really had to perform? What if it's your job to make money trading? How can you let go of this this kind of mask mandate kind of mentality? People are like, well, what you're supposed to do here is that never risk money you can afford to lose. Nobody can afford to lose money. What a fucking stupid comment. Dude, I'm never thinking to myself, yeah, I could lose on this trade. Yeah, I could. I'm probably gonna lose on this trade. Something. I just assume I'm gonna lose. And that's the cost of doing business. So keeping the lights on at your retail business. I saw a guy last night in the band said, yeah, he wants to open a pizza factory, or he wants to have a pizza, cook pizzas and sell them. Wow, you got to have a team of, you got to be so sophisticated. But he is that kind of guy. He could probably do it, because he says, "Oh, I'd just be my own attorney." Yeah, of course. You go online and do it now, And that's the cool thing about the forex. We can go online. We can get these scripts here. Set it, forget it, trading like that. You don't have to trade in limits. You could trade the market, but for the people that want to sleep and they want to go do other things, they don't want to sit here and, like a crackhead, babysit with their finger on the fucking market trigger with a 5 pip stop, trading standard lots yeah, you could do it. I know. These guys that were trading ES Mini, I'm like, the guy's nuts, But this is the thing. How much stress do you need in your life? If you could trade the British pound, so he kept saying, oh, I could just go trade the British pound right now and not even have to endure all this punishment of these giant sized tickets I'm trading. Right, but as you go up the, so if you're in the martial arts, right, as you go up to be a black belt, yeah, do I need this stress? Like once you become a brown belt or a black belt, and you get in a fight and people find out that you're a black belt, then you're going to go to jail. So I know that you think you're fucking Mr. Kung Fu, but you just put yourself in a liability situation. Just like if I decide to go full retard and, I got a newsletter on how to trade. Well, the Securities and Exchange Commission says, do you have a license to give out recommendations like this? Or just go, It's one thing to make jokes about order flow, but dude, you're telling people what to trade, and like this whole fear about this shit. I'm just so sick of this fucking fear porn shit. Like, dude, you're gonna fucking die. You gotta face this thing. You're not gonna live forever. Getting old's not for sissies. And I don't know what the fuck you were thinking about this COVID, dude. It's just that old people are dying from a virus. Oh, goddamn! Somebody better stop this. You're going to sue people because they died in an old folks' home? No, I get the fact that you never protected those people. Those are the people that were at risk, and you fucking locked down a 5-year-old and put a mask on his ass and his face and his fucking dick. Are you fucking kidding me? You're fucking kidding, right? And these fuckers bought into it. So, based on that, as I see this Australian dollar sell off, I'm thinking, who's selling this? And somebody's buying it. If somebody's selling, somebody's buying. And when does this thing stop tanking? Oh, I don't know. But like I said, if my trade is based on making 100 pips in the market, and my scripts are built to target a 100 pip move, and I sell this will be a structured trade at the market here. This also could be limits, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this is last week's support become next week's resistance, right? And that's also happening on a cycle basis, right? Don't get me started on cycles because people are going to go in those rabbit holes, Oh, there's cycles. There's oscillators, and it goes up and down. And these structures, these kind of setups do happen. You can't force them to happen. I'm sure the moving average is starting to roll over, and those people are saying, yeah, I'm getting the same kind of signal. So if you go on these chats with other traders, I'm seeing the same thing. And the agreement is maybe making it feel, and of course, we all are seeing the same things, and people are taking those trades for different reasons, but all these reasons come together. And it is true that given the right speed of your moving average, the right length, how many days you've averaged it out, and whether you linear regression or fucking whatever the goddamn horoscopes, whatever you come up with, in the end, it's really going to be about, did you take profits along the way? Did you hold the giant position waiting for the big target, and then the market came all the way back to the entry point? And you can tell me all day long, well, I only lost a few pips on that. Yeah, but you basically had so much money on the table, and you thought, so taking that gust of wind, right? Taking that flush, because you could have made the same argument here that you bought here, and it's going to take this out. This is going to go to the moon, but it didn't. So you didn't cash out of something there. And here, if you sold this, and when it got to your 100 pip target, and you can see the buyers are coming in here, and they were only able to give this much fuel to that. And that was, in my estimation, this is the fuel picked up from that weekly low, and then new sellers come in. Now you're crushing into a void that goes way back deep, and this is the fuel that really makes this thing just start to cascade. And if you're using the 4-hour structures here, I see a perfectly legitimate setup if you babysat it. And you could babysit this pretty good because you only got to come back to it every 12 hours, so to speak, to even see the setup. But you have a perfect bottom become a top on the line chart there. I'll have to stretch that out to see it, but so yeah, people say, oh, that top become a bottom trade. I like that trade. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, how often does it happen, right? Bottom becomes a top on the half hour. You got a flag. You got all that shit setting up. Even the goobers that run sell stops, even the people that try to break out of a flag, they're like, good trade. No shit. But you got to keep doing those trades. This one, you didn't have it, but you sell every rally in a downtrend, right? Sell at the market. I got a market order I could have sold that at the market. I got a sell limit here. Not quite tagged, but yeah, you know what? This is the floor. People scalp to the floor. Did it engulf? No, not this time. Because what's happening on this side of the chart is this looming vacuum is so demanding. This is the demand. and the supply, so to speak, is crushing, crushing, crushing. So we're going to have a capitulation here once we run out of sellers. And another thing, the velocity of that move is so unsustainable. So these are great fucking trading markets from, if you can handle trading with a 50 pip stop, a 30 pip stop, and those stuff. Right now, the markets are on fire. You whip out these wide stops. Now you got to trade less tickets. Well, it's not going to work with your percentage account risk. That's harebrained. You're not gonna be able to take that trade. Now you just take your percentages down. Because as the ATR goes up, true range per day, I wouldn't say average it out. And now the 14 period ATR, the dumb shit ass, no nonsense guy is using a 14 fucking period ATR. Now, where in the wild world of sports does that make any fucking sense? This dumb shit has supposedly tweaked more algorithms than Jesus, and he hasn't thought to take his ATR and change it from fucking 14 to 7 or to 1 and try to get in before the fucking market's already moved and left the station, and he's going to chase it, wait till his indicators catch up. But don't get me started on that shit. All this is, it's just harebrained bullshit. And then he wrote a fucking book. Oh, this is my world according to gooberism. And as I sit on my porch and look out at the trees. People that are desperate to make money trading. Okay, so we just want to make money. We're all desperate to make. I'm desperate to have something to eat for lunch at this point. And, it's Father's Day and all that fucking ridiculousness. Who comes up with this shit? Dude, every day's Father's Day. This guy's been my father every fucking day. Every day's fucking father. What the fuck? This day? Now it's the June 19th? How about the fucking forex 19th? How about FOMC 19th? Yeah, remember that time I made a bunch of money? Remember the time you blew up your account on that fucking FOMC? And it's just, holy shit. I was in the yen, actually. I was in a dollar yen trade. Just before they came out with FOMC, I took off half the position because I was in so big, and then I watched the market move, and I go, holy shit, look at these motherfuckers. Man, I came in and just pounded it. And then I was like, I'm out, because I know it kept going up. But here's the thing. Once you hit your target, and once you're out of the trade, and once you I don't have a target that high. Like, they actually took me out early. How can I get a better, let your profits run? And you're not going to adjust that later on and readjust that. And your algorithm and your artificial intelligence bullshit Vantage robot ain't going to fucking predict the next day of trading. It's just bullshit. Everybody knows this, right? No, they love it. And you just have to watch the Mindfully Trading Girl and look at the comments in the comment section and just go, oh my Lord, you serious? You might as well just get out a fucking pickaxe and dig for gold in your front yard. What are you doing today? Well, I heard there's gold in dirt. Yeah, is that really? Okay, well, are you going to mine Bitcoins in your front yard? Would even be a better idea. And the whole Bitcoin thing, dude, you're really watching the intellectuals lose their fucking mind to bullshit moronicism. And this is also the thing. Don't forget, all these fucking Marxist dumb shits that went to college are now spewing their bullshit about Bitcoin. And, I'm a PhD from Sophisticon. Dude, you are so out on a limb of reality that you are caught in your own fucking nanotech bullshit narrative. Next thing you're going to tell me that you don't have my vote on a USB drive and you didn't rig the election? Are you fucking retarded? Of course you did. Nobody's dumb enough to think that wasn't and I wasn't real. I didn't think it was possible, because I thought, this is what I honestly thought, I'm not kidding, as fucking naive I was, that when I voted, it went into a dedicated circuitry that no man, no beast, no alien, no fucking ivy plant, creeper gear, goddamn praying mantis is touching. That shit is the most pristine, unfucked with, bet your life on shit. No. So sorry. Wrong. So I'm just naive. I'm going to tell you straight out. You may think that I have a clue. I don't, because I'm not a criminal. Therefore, I think other people aren't. This is a big mistake, right? I'm not out to rip you off, but people rip you off. And even as old as I am, I still think that most people are good. And then if you can appeal to their, uh, that you get leverage on them if you can appeal to the rational mind. But it seems to me, well, from what you read in the headlines, is that it doesn't exist. But the backlash is coming. The pendulum swing's coming because just like lumber, these people, and the beauty of it is that Mother Nature is the ultimate rectifier. You can't live a Marxist life and be successful. You cannot trade artificial intelligence, algorithms, and I love how I kind of want to go into the Discord of no nonsense people, although they kick me out, but just to be a voyeur, to see the comments, it have to be mind blowing. Like, so, oh, I just made so much money in this trade. Yeah, wow. I mean, was it luck? And they're all trading, except for a few people, have figured out that you cannot just take a hard stance in these markets in any kind of substantial size to make any kind of money. That if you have a micro account that lets you trade 31K, obviously they're going to let you trade 1K. And if you're going to be such a gluttonous sophisticate that you think, oh, well, I'm just going to dial in my algo better and trade bigger and harder, faster. I've never been able to do it. Like as soon as I cross into that world, I go, well, you know what? I just went too big on the size. So there's no amount of being right that's going to save this account. I can take an approach of tactics of, well, I can canvas an area, and this would be a week of canvassing, and some weeks are going to be a structure trade. Every week's different. Every situation. Now, the winner is going to be the guy that can adapt to situations. Can you be quiet? Can you be loud? Can you be probably not quiet? So if you know that your weakness is you cannot resist trading, then just trade a demo account. As a surrogate, as a stunt count, because you have to improve your skill at trading if you're going to trade. I'm always talking to people that want to have trading to be as simple as thinking about there'd be no risk, feeling no fear of trading. Is that you shouldn't think twice about any one trade, and the way to have that happen is to trade 1Ks. There is no energy in that trade. Well, like if you're risking $5 per trade, that's a 50 pip stop on 1K. You can be very creative, right? You have the headroom and the leadway to be creative, but once you start to do dumb shit like this unmindfully trading chick that's putting in a 31K, I don't care how good your fucking indicator is. This is dumb shit. And she's follow my journey. To what? Stupidity? I mean, you see this a lot. And I get it that she's cute, even if even though she's Mr. Ed's kid, she's cute as fuck, right? And people comment on that, and people are always so kind to hot women that they're never going to say, you dumb bitch. Especially in this fucking world. Now, maybe back in John Wayne trading, some people are like, well, you fucking dumb shit, naive son of a... That's what I mean. I'm naive about the world, but I'm not naive about trading because that's the one thing I do know is that the market has way more chaos than politics or dumb shit bioengineers that want to... The argument there is, Fauci's argument is that, well, we have to be prepared for the worst case scenarios. So what we have to do is build the worst case scenario and then try to shoot it down. Well, okay. So take the trading world. Let's pick an account that's, I got you. Come across a guy that took a $100,000 account down to 20 grand. He goes, you know what? He emails you and says, dude, I'm down to 20 grand. What should I do? Okay, let me see your account. Let's babysit it. Let's build it back. Build back better, right? But you can't just. But the Fauci's of the world and stuff. It's like it's okay to sacrifice. It's okay to take that risk and blow that account up because we're scientists. In just like a Nazi taking a twins and going. And the Nazis got a hard on when they saw these twins. They go, twins? Holy fuck! We could finally do a double-blind study of what it's like to fill one up with gasoline and the other one up with ice cubes. Wow. I mean, this is like now. If you think about how we're not that far from there because we got the Fauci's, we got the guy. Okay, 3 masks this week, 2 masks, and then they're gonna. Maybe this is just how bureaucracy runs. Government likes to run on date schedules, Juneteenth, the teenths and the dinks and the things. I heard a guy last night on this show called, I don't know what it's called, but he said, name your kid an Asian name so that even if he's black, he'll get a job. And then when he shows up for the interview, they're like, oh my God. But so the structure's there, and these people that are like, let's take this, okay, let's blow up a demo cup, but let's not kill a bunch of people to get rid of somebody you don't want in office. And who doesn't want them? Well, the big churning juggernaut of, I guess it's crony capitalism at this time, but it's built upon legislation, the groundwork's laid, and not everything's happening. Not all coincidences have causality behind it because some of the stuff is just literally there's so much shit out there that when you trigger one thing, it's like mousetrap, you have a cascading effect and people lose their mind. So the lumber thing, the dollar thing, the Bitcoin thing, and let's go to Bitcoin because I got to eat something. But this is a great time to be alive if you're trading or even watching the markets just for mental speculation. You only lose your mind if you trade it in your mind. Let me delete this. So this is the big moment of truth for Bitcoin, actually. Can Bitcoin sustain this price level? That is going to be the question. And I say we're probably going to take this shit out at 30,000 and keep tanking. Although the people have had their fun here, Now, this is the floor we are trapped underneath. And, boy, people have been people that are able to range trade in Bitcoin have been making some money here. And you're in a $10,000 range, $7,000 range of Bitcoin, and you could literally trade probably on your phone, real money with no leverage, $500 positions and pick up some money here. The people that are in pain on this trade are people that bought at the tippy top tick Tommies. And now they are in this trade. So this color's a little too dark in the background, I think. At least on my monitor. If you're playing at home, of course, God knows. Heaven knows. Heaven's some Murgatroyd. Wait. Okay. The Bitcoin. Wow. Wowie wow. And look at the monthly. I have a candlestick chart, but I can turn the candles on here. I said I was going to do a candlestick chart, but I know. So I said at this point on the chart, I said, no, I'm not going to take this trade, but I said, if you're buying Bitcoin up here, you're out of your fucking mind. And it's lights out. For Bitcoin, it's going to be lights out. Here's the head and shoulders. Now, there was a kind of a quadruple head and shoulders up here, I suppose. And here's where people say, well, see, head and shoulders patterns don't work because look at, they stopped me out. I got in here at the shoulder. They stopped me out. One more wake up. I'm sure you understand how stupid that is because if you're scaling in, you don't have that problem. You're selling the whole time. You keep selling up here, sell. You build a short position up on the wicks. That's what you do. If we ever start to cave into this, now this will be a big buying opportunity, but I'm going to cash out here if I did this trade. Buy here, dump here. I can see the next trade. I can see the exit too. I'm sure people do have buy limits down here. In fact, if you had real money, it wasn't leveraged, you could just put buy limits here. And what are you risking? Nothing. I mean, you can't blow that up. Is Bitcoin going to go to zero? Probably not. Can Bitcoin dray a cup? And that's just, can it just, dray a cup? It's like Yiddish. Look it up. This is to kind of go up and down and meander and just be nonsense noise. Yes. And this could go on for, oh my God. Imagine scenarios like this. We're just going to dick around in Bitcoin and people will be like, yeah, we ever going to go to $1 million? When people start saying shit like we're going to $1 million or even $250,000 in Bitcoin, Max Kaisers of the world, dude, you gotta buy a vol. And maybe I'm going to be wrong, but so far, my sell up here is pretty fucking good. Now, we can drip down here. We can get trapped down here. We may never breach this. This is the alt. We got to get to here. And when we get to here, sellers are coming in. I don't want to break your heart, but if we make it here, sellers are coming in. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. And look at this shit. Until this time here, nobody knew about this, but they knew about this bullshit. And they're like, bing, bang, 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 bing, bang. It's going to break out. No. Wah, wah, wah. I mean, look at this punishment. And then people like the Tim Pools of the world, these goobers, ultimate, nothing about price behavior or even market psychology or mob psychology or anything. They say, yeah, well, we've seen a sell-off here before. Yeah, but this... Now, maybe you're long from down here. You're long from 12 grand. I gotcha. But if we come back to where we were, like a prepper, you're going to say, well, I can eat the food I had. I still got the food here. Okay, listen. If you're in any kind of substantial sizes in these trades, things are going to matter. Then I posted a thing on the Discord. So it's been a couple months, I think, since I've been there. A couple weeks. I don't know. About the gold market. And somebody emailed me this thing about, hey, I got some money and I want to trade some commodities coming up. What do you think about a gold trade? What would you do in crude oil and all these things? What would you do, right? And I know exactly when they sent me this email on the chart, I actually looked at the prices and I thought, well, gosh, I mean, there's so many wild trades coming up that we don't even know about. It's impossible to talk like that. It really, in a realistic sense, if you have any reality, you can't even think like that. Like look at gold market. So he mentioned crude oil and gold, and you saw what happened to oil there. How long are we going to be in this trade? And so I posted a thing, and I marked these zones off. And I have not just touched this chart since I marked out the supply and demand on gold. And I said, there's going to be some sells coming up here, and we're coming into these windows up on the top. And we all knew these windows existed. Did we trade them or did we not trade them? I marked out the supply zone up here. Everybody knew about this. It was not a secret. This is where you put your sell limits on gold. And this is your sell limits. The first time we punch up, and this is a big drama up here. And while you're spending the time up there, the market's dicking around up there, everybody's all bullish and all happy and, whoa, gold, and see, oh, they printed too much money, inflation, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, you left this big vacuum behind, people, and we're going to fill that. Now you should be buying gold now. You should be buying gold and lumber, and you got buy limits on gold all the way down here because you're waiting for this to happen, and then you're going to cash out. And if you're going to make money, I understand that people want to buy gold, and they want to hold on to it for 5 years, but to me, that's not trading. You're an investor, and if you look at the big chart on gold, you should be buying right now. If you're a long-term guy, this thing's all the way back to the starting gate of this big run-up that everybody's all excited about. And you could do trading even up here. There's all good trading up there. All that range distribution, then collapse, one big sell-off. Everybody's got to be buying this. All gold bugs are gobbling this up, scaling in, and they got buy limits below. Because in their long picture, and this is the trend, would be the big picture. They got their eyes on the prize of maybe we're going to take out that 2,000 one day. Oh, please, take out that 2,000 one day on gold. Oh, would you, Jesus, please? I got $100 handles marked in the big green lines here. But look at that shelf trap on the weekly. You didn't have to be there for that trade, dude. You go to, and if you didn't cash out on your, oh, I'm so bullish on gold. Now you got a problem here. If they raise interest rates in the United States, I'm saying it right now. Gold, bye-bye. Gold takes out this. They have not raised interest rates in Everville. We take this out. Bitcoin collapses. Don't forget, gold used to be down here. 1,500. Not hard to see. What's going to happen when they flip this? I mean, you think the Great Reset's going to go in one direction? I love how people have this idea, well, this Great Reset, they throw out these catchphrases, these talking point bullshit thing. Dude, you're in a big sea of money. So yeah, gold, the bullish argument for gold, look, we took out the top here, we're breaking out, we're going to keep going up. Maybe, right? It doesn't matter to me, man. It doesn't matter to me. This could just be ranging and ranging and ranging. Look how many years we spent it down here. We spended, it's the new grammar, we spended 7 years of bullshit there. Accumulation, I suppose you're going to say, for this big run up. So yeah, gold made a nice move, but gold could just weasel back down and just dick around and just, is this a big enough move for you to make money? I don't have a yearly chart. Fortunately, they don't do. We get to zoom out here to get this big picture. And gold. Here's the big picture. Oh. Big picture is oh shit. I thought I had my, wait. I do. I got a hotkey for that objects. All right. Yeah, that's the whole picture in gold. I guess you could say it's an uptrend. Though. You want to buy now? you buy as it drops here. But yeah, stocks, quite the smackdown, and a real brutal smackdown there. And I'm thinking, well, next week's gonna be quite the hair. It's gonna be crazy, and it's gonna come into this big, if you know how to trade these kind of ranges, you got to have the right stop sizes. You got to have if we come in here, there's going to be a lot of fun and ranging. And there's no more screaming moves, because once you drop into the pool there, it dies out. It kills it. The liquidity kills the speed. Once the market absorbs it, and people go, well, I'll buy that. It's on sale, And it starts to dissolve the energy there. But that's a hell of a move, It's very dramatic. And it's definitely a shoulder, if you consider this the head. But the way that kind of just drifts sideways, and there's kind of like this, uh-oh, if we're not going to break out, what's going to happen there? And we had it here, actually. Now here's the trap, and this is the wicked auction. Now here's where the buyers come in, gobble that up, scalp to here. Another retest. Here's where you have to redo your same trade plan and buy another retest on limits, right? I'm talking about putting in, I'm talking about trading 300 tickets to 400 tickets of my real money. I trade like that, right? So in some of the 50 tickets get scalped out, but I can rinse and repeat those 50. So I maybe trade 1,000 tickets in here. Because I'm going to, just like here, I'm going to buy into this. If I had real money in this guy, in the Dow, I buy, scalp, buy. So all the drama in here and everything can possibly happen. I don't need to drill down to the 1 hour chart, the 5-minute chart. I already know. Just like I probably would have bought on limits. If I'm a super bull, I buy on limits here as they stop hunt, buy more, and then when it gets to here, I'm out, right? When they take out the highs, because I figure they're just trapping people and they could tank. But this is a different mentality. Right? In this trade plan here, wow, you're probably going to get stopped out of that. If you try to sell into that with the same scripts you used here, well, maybe not here because this you absorbed that apparently. Your system needs to be able to take this. Now, this you got stopped out. I guarantee you, if you ran that same static stop of X pips, they blew you out. Could you have dropped down? This is the daily. Could you have dropped down to the 4-hour chart and got on the sell train? Hell yes. You could have sold every rally on the 4-hour at the market. You could have put in sell stops at the 4-hour market. You could put in sell limits at the 4-hour market. It's the drama of that move is what's really the problem in trading. It is not the pattern. It's the size of the pattern, and it's the frequency of your trading. All these things, but I don't know. Hope that helps. I'm gonna get something to eat, but that's my 2 cents. And if I get another, if I get angry again, I'll do another video, right? Anyways, hope I had some key words in there that are trigger words for the robots, so hopefully they're not going to ban my video. You're going to try to insert reality in there, and of course that's foreboding. Reality is foreboding, and talking about truth, it's just amazing. It's funny. It reminds me of people herding cats or trying to hold back a fire hose with your pinky in the end of a fire hose. It's so cute, and actually they're just making it worse for themselves, because when the reality comes down and they just decertify corruption, it's going to be wow. But you know what they're going to say, and I've already heard this. What they are going to say is that we had to do it to save the nation. We had to cheat to save the nation, is what they're going to say. And you know that's where they're going to go, because they're rebels with a dead-end cause. Rebels for Marxism is like, just pulling the trigger indiscriminately over and over again on standard lots on an account where you can't even see the chart. Not even a quote. Not even, imagine trading without even level, depth of market, without the all the secret institutional secrets of secrets. It's not going to help you. But yeah, enjoy the. I still see people wearing the mask, dude. I think we're going to be stuck with that for a while. And they believe the big lie. That's the lie they love. So I hope that helps. I'll just put my typical list of links in here and shit. Anyways. Markets are on fire. You gotta step out of the way. When you get this heated, unless you have a 200 pip stop, some of this shit's just untradeable. Until it calms down. Look at the guppy. I mean, trading that guppy? 300 pips. That's not any different than the pound. 300 pips down in 1 week. Wow. Unsustainable moves. So this is the kind of thing I could stock this one. I'd be looking at that thing. Oh, let's just buy some fresh lows here, get some dead cat bounces, wait for it to turn around, and then this trend line's a trend line to break. I'm looking at to build the positions. I'm looking for to get these flash crashes where I have my limits there. That's my trading style, but you could run the trailing buy stop in here. I get it. When it turns around, and we go along. We wait for the big boys to push it, and we ride their coattails. I got that one. I get a newsletter from some goober like that. Wait till the big boys. Wait till the FOMC comes out, and then you step in. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's calmer now, of course, for that standpoint too. The FOMC doesn't always rock the markets as hard, But when these dumb shits talk about what they're going to do, but it's already being done, right? The bond market's already driving it, right? People are going to park their money in utilities and bonds and all this shit. You are going to come back to a more. So what happens there politically is that when you stretch it out that far, people become very severely fiscally conservative, and you can see it reflecting in the market behavior, because nobody's going to go along. People that are buying lumber here in a panic mood, they've already got their ass kicked to smithereens. It's hysterical. Somebody got burned on that and somebody made money. And I wonder who that is, right? So obviously the producers that dumped it on the market and got out, they sold, the guy that sold whatever he had in his yard at that moment, and I don't know when the harvest time is for lumber, but for the halving of lumber, the halving of Bitcoin, what a joke. Well, the halvings come out and you can predict your, come on, man. The halvings. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. This is the most. I'm telling you what. A Lifetime movie plots have more fucking logic. There's this movie called Frozen where these three people are on a chairlift. The chick and two guys are on a chairlift and they want to take a last run and they shut down the thing and storm comes in and wolves eat them and shit. People in the comments are like, well, why didn't they just fucking dude? It's a movie. It's set up to be fucking tragic. What, are you retarded now? But this isn't a movie. This is really happening. But the same kind of, I guess, cause and effects happening here. But nobody can step in and intervene this either. You're watching a movie unfold. Like nobody can stop these markets from. Nobody can stop people from wearing masks apparently, or from planking. Dude, people used to lay down on the road. I mean, people were eating like laundry soap. You think you're gonna stop this shit? With an algorithm? With a fucking, what, you gonna talk moving averages to people? Are those people trading? Are they allowed to buy a gun? If you have detergent on your breath, like if they do a well, we found detergent, he's obviously eating laundry detergent. He can't own a gun. He can't open a trading account. No, this guy. Put him in the institution, institutionalized. The government, we're the government. You're fucking, you're a danger to society and yourself. Look at you. What, are you thinking for yourself now? Oh, I suppose you know better than Mr. Fuckshy. Oh yeah, look at you. You're a scientist now. Are you an attorney too? Yeah, actually. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any, right? But it's all right. Come get me. Come kill me. Kill me now. But I'm ready to die any moment. So that's the nice thing about being a trader is I'm ready for it. It's a different kind of mentality because honestly, the virus thing compared to trading, what's harder? Not getting killed by corona or trading? Trading is harder. Not getting killed by corona is pretty fucking easy. Be healthy. Don't lick doorknobs. And don't, just use your fucking brain, dude. What are you doing? Licking people? You're fucking people. You're touching people. You're obviously humping people without, like, there's something going on. And, yeah, that's bad, but we got to thin the herd here, man. And now we thin in the herd with the fucking corona and the violence. You got to love it, man. So as I sit in my bunker with my scripts and my mouse and my hotkey keyboard, I'm just going to sit back and watch the show. And the headlines are, if you fade the headlines, like we hear about the lumber thing, and I didn't think about it at that time, and I did do a thing on, the last video I did was about the soybeans and the lumber. We didn't look at the soybeans, but same story, bullshit spikes. These are just irrational price spikes. They're unsustainable. They're just a product of fear, and it doesn't matter if you're big boy, little boy. Every boy's in on this trade, forcing these prices into ridiculousness. Anyways, it's my 2-hour rant, almost 2 hours of nonsense.